Welcome to another episode of Sideline Stories. I'm Tricia Whitaker, and that is Sydney Parrish. Sydney, hi. How you doing?
Hi, good. How are you? I'm really sad we can't be together for this episode, but
I know, but you have some important things going on. You're going to be doing some Big Ten Network broadcasting. I got to teach this week, but today we have a very, 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 very special guest. We're so excited because this is a man who I, Sydney, literally grew up listening to. He means the world to the entire IU family, and he might be the one person enjoying this IU football season more than anybody else. He's seen this program through everything, the highs, the lows, the heartbreaks, and now he gets to call this IU football season. It's incredible. He's the play-by-play voice of Indiana football and Indiana basketball since 1973. It's 52 years behind the mic. Don Fischer, Sydney.
Yeah, we're so excited to talk to him, kind of get his insight on things from the season, from his experience with IU basketball, IU football. Like you said, he's kind of seen the worst and now has seen the best going into this upcoming weekend with the Big Ten championship. So just really excited to see and hear like what he has to say.
I know. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. He's seen so much history, so much good history, so much bad history. And I'm so excited for him that after 52 years, he gets to experience a year like this. Okay, let's start with our life off the field segment. Sydney, we were in New York City.
Oh, it was so fun. I was actually just today looking back at pictures of like the entire time because I spent a little extra time out there before you came out, but it was just like literally the best time ever. We got your ears double pierced. I talked you into that.
Look,
they're
holding up great, Sid.
Good.
They're holding up great.
They're doing great. We went shopping. It ended up being freezing the day that you got in, so we had
So
no
cold.
Jackets. You didn't even bring a jacket to New York City.
I didn't bring a jacket to New York City, so Sydney made sure we went shopping, and we chose a new pair of boots for me that are more stylish than the ones I had, and a fake fur coat.
And gloves and a hat, and because it was freezing outside.
Yep.
No, it was so fun to be able to meet all like the different Indiana alumni in New York City because I feel like we're so used to being in like the Midwest all the time and just seeing like Indiana alums that are from Indiana. Since you're from Bloomington, I'm from Indianapolis. So just being able to see that side of the country like come together and seeing all the alumni that are throughout the country and stuff. It's been really cool to see, and it was a fun event.
Yeah, it was an awesome event. We met so many people in New York City. I could never live in New York City full time.
No.
That's not my my pace of living. But it was really fun visiting, doing all the things. Okay, let's talk about gratitude, Sid. That's kind of our thing on this podcast now.
I know. I love it. Okay. So I would say like I was trying to think about this pre-recording about like things I'm grateful for, my gratitude, all that kind of stuff, because obviously we just had Thanksgiving. So I was with like my entire family, which I was so grateful for because I love being able to come home and spend the holidays, Thanksgiving with them. But one thing I'm really grateful for is the snow, which sounds crazy. And you put that on your Instagram story this morning.
Yes, I did.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, I literally wrote it down before I saw your story because I love like the changing of seasons in the snow, and it looks like a snow globe what I'm looking at right now, and it's just I love it. I think it's.
I love it too.
I don't like the cold, but I like the snow.
No, but here's the thing. Here's what I always tell people: if it's gonna be cold and gray, give me a fresh blanket of snow on the ground. I don't want to see dark. I don't want to see gray. I don't want to see dead grass, dead bushes, dead everything. I want that sprinkle of snow. I want it up until honestly the beginning of March, and then I want spring, but that's never how it works around here.
I know. So it's been so beautiful in Chicago. All the lights are up. It's just like Christmas is coming to life around here in the holidays. It's so amazing. I love it.
Sid and I are Christmas people. I just decorated my place for Christmas, so I was so excited.
I did that on November 1st.
It's allowed, right? Whenever you want to do it, it's allowed. I really, really, really hate people being a Grinch and a joy robber and saying that you can't decorate for Christmas whenever the hell you want to decorate for Christmas. Oh, yeah. Like I let you cheer for teams that I don't like on social media. So why can't you just let me, cheer for Christmas?
That is hilarious.
I mean, it's true.
I know. So there were so many sports moments this past week. I feel like I was like MIA on social media talking about sports because of Thanksgiving and spending time with my family. But I was just looking through like everything from the week regarding football, regarding the Hoosiers, the Lane Kiffin hire, women's basketball. And was there anything that stood out to you specifically from this
Okay,
last
there
week.
there was, but can I say what I'm grateful for first before we get into sports?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so this one's gonna surprise you though.
So you're excited
Maybe.
to say this? Hell, because I skipped right over your gratitude.
You said
So you're
what?
excited. I said you seem very excited about this because I accidentally skipped over you. And you're
I
like,
know.
no, let's go back. I want to say this.
No, we gotta go back. Okay, I'm grateful for pitbulls.
Okay, first I thought you were gonna say pitbull, like the
No!
singer. Okay.
No, like
Explain.
dogs. Pit bulls. Okay, so I recently posted on my Instagram story about a pit bull, and now everybody thinks I own a pit bull. Well, I don't. It's one of my best friend's pit bulls, and she just moved back to where I live. And so I watch her pit bull. But like, as you know, as women, sometimes we have issues with weirdos and stalkers and creeps
Right.
who won't go away or leave us alone or who just cross the line too many times. So whenever I have her pit bull in the house, I feel so safe. And so I decided to post an entire Instagram reel acting as if I owned a pit bull because I was like, it just makes me feel an extra level of security. So I posted this whole Instagram reel acting as if I had just adopted a pit bull. Now, she is there a lot. Like, she is at my house a lot. So, like, you never know when she's going to be there. But it is insane how safe pit bulls make you feel. She is threatened by, like, the dryer when I turn it on, let alone, like, somebody who would, like, intrude. So that's what I became grateful for this week, Sid, is a pit bull.
So does that mean you're gonna get a dog soon? Or a pit bull?
I can't. I want to so bad, but I can't. I travel too much. Like
Thank you.
during the Apple TV season, I'm never here.
Every
Like
week.
I bought a house and it's wonderful and I love it. But like when baseball season starts, I'm not home because I'll leave for weeks at a time. I also go down to Miami and I host for CBS Sports Network on occasion.
Yeah.
And when I'm down there, I'll stay for like a week. So if I were to get a dog, it would not be a pleasant home for the dog.
Oh, yeah, I'm obsessed with my dog, so I can't
I
really.
know you are.
I can't
know
really.
you
I got her in like the worst season you could possibly get a dog in. I was in the middle of December of basketball season. I got a 12-week-old puppy. Probably the worst timing ever, but it worked out. So.
But that puppy brings you so much joy, so it was worth it. Okay, let's get to what you really wanted to talk about was sports moments. What's your sports moment of the week that either gave you chills or surprised you? Tell me.
Okay, this one, I don't think it was a surprise because both of these players are like two of the top performers so far in women's basketball. So I'm going to bring it to the women's basketball side because I have a feeling you might talk football a little bit. So Iowa State played Indiana this past week in a tournament in Florida, and Audie Crooks had 47 points and Shea Chesky ended with 38 points, which is like unheard of, especially from like, I think it was so interesting watching the game because Audie Crooks is a center, Shea Chesky's a point guard. So like seeing both of these different positions dominate in the perspective like positions, it was just so fun and cool to watch. Iowa State did win, but it was just it was a great game overall. And both of these players are just putting up the most ridiculous numbers ever. Audie Crooks is literally averages more points than minutes played. So it's crazy.
You know what, Sid? I'm so excited to watch you when you're on the Big Ten Network for women's basketball because like that was just a sweet preview of what we're going to get to see from you when you do it on Big Ten Network.
Thanks. I get so excited talking about women's basketball. It's like when you talk about baseball, though. You talk about baseball, I'm like this.
Yep.
I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm kind of similar with women's basketball.
Now that it's women's basketball season, like I get so excited to be able to watch games every day. I'm like, okay, so who's playing? Like I need to see who's playing. Like today I'm just like breaking down. My first game is Ohio State Northwestern. And all I've done is watch so much Northwestern and Ohio State film. I'm like, I feel like, especially being able to play those two teams, it's like seeing them evolve and seeing how the coaching changes in their plays and where they position people for presses, not pressing, zones, stuff like that. I love it.
You want to talk about what time that game's at?
The game is at noon on Sunday.
And why is that exciting? But
No,
also,
it's exciting because it's my first game, but I can't be in Indianapolis on Saturday, which everybody knows Indianapolis on Saturday for Hoosier fans is like the biggest day of the year.
I'm so excited. I'm going to die of
basketball
excitement.
is At I almost said Bankers Life, at Gamebridge. And then after is the Big Ten championship for IU football. So excited and jealous that you get to go.
I'm so excited to be at the Big Ten championship game in IU Louisville. I'm so sorry, Sid, you can't be there. That makes me sad. But you're not going to be there for a very good reason. Like it's really exciting that you're doing this with Big Ten Network. Yes. So you can live vicariously through me because everybody knows I post obnoxiously on my Instagram story when IU football is playing. So I will make sure. You know what I should do? I should just bring like a fat head of you to the game. Like, you know, those things. Oh my gosh, wait. That's an amazing idea.
Yes.
Why haven't I thought of that until right now?
I don't know.
I'm going to get a life-size version of your head and just hold it up at the game. I wonder if they would allow me to bring one in.
I don't know, but I just wish I could actually be there because it's going to be an amazing game. And all I want to do is watch. I mean, they've never been in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
And it's in Indianapolis.
I'm aware. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. Like I moved to Bloomington when I was 8 years old, and we have been terrible for my entire lifetime. I've talked about this 1,000 times, but like last year I was like, oh, it's a fluke. It's a fluke. I'm so scared they're going to be terrible this year. This year it's like, okay, it's for real. Like this is for real. We're a football school now. We're about to play in the Big Ten championship against Ohio State. And like, I'm not kidding, Sid. I'm going to make a fool out of myself because I'm probably going to be crying. Like I'm gonna probably cry. Like it's just it means more. It means more when you grew up here, you went to school here, you teach here, and it's not just a game. It's like a legacy. It's like a family thing too.
Yeah. No, I understand. No, I'm more happy for you because you're actually from Bloomington. You've seen it a little. You've seen the lows a lot more than I have. Luckily, the last 2 years have been really good. But I know you're hoping and praying for a Hoosier victory, but do you have any predictions, score predictions, outcomes of the game on Saturday?
I mean, I'm not even about to bet against Indiana. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm going to say that IU is going to win the game. But I'm going to say that they are going to win the game if they do these set of things, right? So obviously we know there's two elite quarterbacks going back to back, going up against each other with Heisman implications. And I think that, Ohio State's defense is really, really good. And we know IU's run game ranks among the best. And they've leaned on a strong, rushing attack this season, but also Mendoza, right? And I know that Ohio State counters with one of the best run defenses in the country, allowing very little on the ground. So for IU to win, I think they're going to have a really, really balanced attack. Now, the one thing that I think is to the advantage of the Hoosiers, right, is that Indiana has played in a lot of tight games. Ohio State this season really hasn't because they've been so good, right? So give credit where credit's due. But I think Indiana is a little bit more battle tested, in my opinion, than Ohio State is. Now, is that really going to rattle Ohio State? Probably not, because they're used to playing under the bright lights. It's Ohio State, right? But I do think Indiana might have an advantage when it comes to being battle tested, No, so I'm going to take Indiana.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even think of that. The first thing that came to my head was, hey, Mendoza doesn't have to play in freezing weather.
Yes.
Because it's going to be in Lucas Oil. Because like he said in the postgame, he's never played in cold games like that before because he was at Cal Berkeley.
Yeah.
He never played in the Midwest. So you saw they lean on their run game against Purdue, which that was completely fine. But I think it's going to be, like you said, having like different attacks back and forth. Trying to do something. So I'm excited to see. Do you think that this game is going to determine the Heisman implication?
For sure. I think so, for sure. And yes, I think it absolutely will.
I think that it comes down to like one game.
I know. But that's kind of how it is, especially when you have two Heisman candidates going up against each other. I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest storylines, rightfully so. And I think another thing that for IU, like this game, if they play, even if they were to lose this game, right? If they at least play competitively and make it a close game, that's going to disintegrate that narrative that last year, was a fluke and they can't go up against really, really good opponents. because people are still saying that despite what their record is this season, despite who they've beaten, when they went to Oregon, everything. Like, people are still saying, well, they really need to prove themselves when the stakes are high, when they're in the playoffs, when they're in games like the Big Ten championship game. So even if they don't win this game, the way that they play is going to really define that storyline, I think, in that narrative.
Yeah. Okay. So like the hard hitting question here. Do you have your outfit picked out for Saturday?
Yes. My dear friend made me a custom IU jacket. You've seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You've seen it. If you follow me on Instagram, you should go check her out. She's amazing. And she designed me a jacket with like IU sparkles on the back, and it's so cute. It's a jean jacket. And then I think I'm going to wear my IU football jersey underneath it, or I have a Bison t-shirt that I could wear underneath it. Because we love that the Bison was brought back this season. So we'll see.
Oh, it's the best. Yay. Well, I'm glad you get to spend your weekend in Indianapolis.
Okay. What's your prediction?
Okay. I think you're correct with like Indiana's been battle tested. So I think if like Indiana comes out the gate, like quick score, interception, something good to come out the gate, I think it's going to be a rough day for Ohio State. But like you said, Ohio State hasn't ever, I don't know. It stresses me out because every single game that's been a good game this year, like Indiana at Oregon, I was just stressed the entire time. Yep. Honestly, even Indiana playing Illinois to open up the season, it was like the first big game. Like I've been stressed every single time, but Cignetti and Mendoza, they figure out how to win every single time. So it's like I don't know why I would ever bet against the Hoosiers because they always figure it out. So my money's on Indiana, and I will be cheering for them the entire weekend.
As you can tell, we're not football analysts. We're more just really, really big fans of this team, and we want to hope that they can get the job done. Yes. All right. It is now time to welcome in our guest, Don Fischer. Legendary Don Fischer, someone that I listened to growing up. One of the reasons I got into broadcasting really was listening to Don Fischer do play-by-play when I was little, and Jeremy Gray doing play-by-play when I was little. Don, we are so excited to have you join us. Thank you. I think the first thing we want to know is just what this season has been like for you, because listen, last year was amazing, right? But this year they did it again. So that really solidifies what happened last year. And you have called some very, very difficult IU football games in your career and seasons. How would you describe this one?
Well, it's spectacular, obviously. I don't know that you can describe it by any other term, because what we've seen in the last 2 years has been a remarkable turnaround and I hate the term turnaround. It's not good enough for what we've seen over the last 2 seasons at Indiana. It just simply is not. I'm searching. I've looked in the thesaurus and looked in the dictionary, and I can't find the right word, to be honest with you. It's just been so much of a change, number one, but a remarkable change. And it's all because of one man. It's Curt Cignetti.
That's amazing. So we talked about like the hard seasons you had to call. How did you always stay so positive on the air?
Well, here's the thing. You have to understand. I got into this business for one reason. I wanted to do play-by-play. I wanted to broadcast games on the radio. I had a terrible I didn't have a terrible high school career, but I just didn't like school that much, and I just did enough to get by, so to speak. I didn't want a lot of D's and F's on my report card, so I got good C's and C pluses, but I could have done so much better. I'm one of two. My brother and I are twins. And he was very studious and very academic oriented, and I was completely the opposite. So anyway, when I got into this business, and it took a while after high school to do that, I didn't go to college. It took about a year and a half, and I finally figured out that I better start doing something else to make money, because I was basically a social pariah because I had no money. I started working on the railroad back in the day, and I worked in the depot in a small town in Illinois. Worked there for a year and a half in total. But about halfway through that year, I had been working 7 days a week for almost 7 months, because when they told me when they hired me that there would be a weekend guy they were going to hire in a couple of weeks, and 7 months later they finally found him. That said, I was basically a shift at night, 9 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning. I was basically by myself most of that time, unloading freight cars of mail and things like that. It was just an easy job, but it was time consuming. But I'd always have a break about 1 o'clock in the morning. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, I have a sack lunch with me, or I'd go to a place called Bowen's, which was a cafe that stayed on, was 24 hours, that kind of thing. But most of the time I stayed in the depot. And when I'm sitting there looking at Sport Magazine, back in those days, it was a rival to Sports Illustrated. And I was looking at Sport Magazine. On the back inside cover, it said, "How would you like to be a sportscaster?" And I said, I think I could do that. And and it was basically an ad for a home correspondence school called Career Academy out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's how I got started. I got about halfway through the correspondence course. I went up to the local radio station as soon as I got the correspondence course and got the mailing and all that kind of stuff. As soon as I got that, I went to the local radio station, and I just asked those guys there if I could hang around, just be a gopher, whatever they wanted me to do, get them coffee, clear the wires of the news wires that they had, AP and UPI at that time. Anyway, so they allowed me to hang around. And I started watching what they did, and I just knew this is the business for me. I just wanted to get into it so badly, and I got my first job in Butte, Montana. I was literally the same shift, 9 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning in Butte, Montana, of all places. That's a 48-hour train trip, which I took out there to interview for the job. Anyway, once I got there, I didn't think there's a chance I was going to get the gig. But they wanted to hire somebody from 9 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning, and 9 o'clock till midnight, you were the DJ on the radio. From midnight to 3 o'clock, you were the janitor in the building. You cleaned out the toilets and the garbage and the waste baskets and all that kind of stuff. And then from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock a.m., I was the farm director. So that was my first job, and I was there for a year and a half. I actually went with the sports crew there to do games. I didn't do any play-by-play or anything like that. And then, of course, from that point forward, I just ballooned. And finally, I got a job back in Illinois doing sports. Lied to get the job. Really a bad thing to do, but got the job.
Wait, what was the lie? What was the lie? We have to know.
The guy, well, you do a little of everything in small town radio, right? Of course. So the guy says, well, I said, but I want to do play-by-play here. And he goes, well, how much play-by-play have you done? So I told him that I had done play-by-play in Butte, Montana with the backup crew. There was no backup crew. Anyway, but this guy didn't know anything about sports either. So at any rate, I just told him that I had done some play-by-play out there, and he said, okay, we'll hire you. So they hired me because they heard my tape of my disc jockey work and that kind of stuff, and they thought I was good enough in that area. So at any rate, I did my first game, and it took me an hour and a half to pack up the equipment after the ball game, and I was taking my time because I did not want to go back to the radio station because I knew that I had done the worst broadcast of the history of radio. It was horrific. And the guy that was working with me, a guy named Jim Frandon, who was the program director, he was my color guy on the broadcast. And about every 15 minutes, he'd just kind of look around, looking at me like, what did you just say? You know, it was just so bad. It was horrible. And I literally hung around for an hour and a half after the game ended. The radio station signs off at 10 o'clock. This is an FM station back in the day. They signed off at 10 o'clock. So I waited till almost 11:30. Got back to the radio station, pulled in the parking lot, and there's the silhouette of the guy standing in the doorway. I can see him standing there with the light back to him, and I knew I was going to be in big trouble. So I walked into the building, and I said, or he said, he didn't say hi, goodbye, anything like that. He just said, I thought you told me you'd done play-by-play before. I said, well, Mr. Porso, his name was Wally Porso was his name. I said, if I'd have told you the truth, you would have never hired me. He said, no, blank, blank, blank. And he said, you've got 3 weeks. And I thought I was fired. But he said, you got 3 weeks. If you're not dramatically better in 3 weeks, and I mean dramatically better, you're out of here. So I got up the next morning. I called a guy I'd never met before. His name was Art Kimball. By the way, he was a guy that they have, I think he is part of their broadcast program at DePaul University here in Indiana at Greencastle. Anyway, and he's got a plaque up or that kind of thing. Anyway, this guy was a really good play-by-play guy. He was 15 minutes away from where I lived at that time. And I called him up and I said, Mr. Kimball, you don't know me. My name's Don Fischer. I did my first radio broadcast of a football game last night. I sucked. I don't think I used the word suck because I don't think it was big in that day and age. Whatever, I just told him it was awful. And he goes, what do you expect me to do? And I said, would you just let me come? I said, would you just meet with me and give me a few minutes of your time so that I can get a better feel for what I need to do here in regard to doing the games themselves? And so he said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, I'm going to church. He said, what are you doing after church? I said, whatever you want me to. I went to his home. He spent 5 hours with me.
Wow.
5 hours. And I took notes, copious notes, how to get ready for football, how to get ready for basketball, how to get ready for baseball games, those kinds of things. And everything that he taught me in that 5 hour session is what I've used my entire career.
Oh my
word. That was like a mic drop story for what it takes to make it, especially back when you started. I mean, to think you started at a railroad working and unloading freight trains and then worked your way to Montana, worked your way to this job where you lied to get a shot, but it paid off. That's incredible.
Well, it's, I guess it is, but the truth, yeah, I mean, 5 years later, I've become the voice of IU, and it's been a blessing. I've been blessed my whole life to do what I love to do. I'm still doing it. I'm probably too old to be doing it now, but nevertheless, I'm still doing it, and I enjoy it. I just have a great time doing it. It's kept me young, so to speak. I mean, I felt like I've been on a college campus, or I have been on a college campus for 50 plus years now. And, so I'm around young people. I'm around a lot of people that love sports and love what we do. And I've just been blessed. So anyway, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And I don't have all the other periphery stuff like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and doing sports shows at 6, 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8, that kind of thing. I'm just basically doing play-by-play in the coaches' shows, and that's it. I play golf in the summer. So I'm living the life Riley.
So everyone, you're known for being one of the best, and you've been at IU for so long. What has kept you at Indiana specifically? Because you could go anywhere you want.
I could have gone a couple different places over the years. I mean, I've had offers to go other places. Probably the best offer I had was to become the voice of the Indiana Pacers at one time. But I got divorced back in the early 80s. I have 4 sons. I had custody of my 4 sons after the divorce. And then I remarried like 2 years later, and I did not want to leave my new wife in charge of one of my boys had already gotten into college and was gone most of the time, but the other 3 were all at home, 6th grader, freshman, and a junior in high school. And so at any rate, I just couldn't. If I take the Pacer job, I'm going to be gone 6 months a year. Because they have 82 games. They're gone all the time. They go on these 2-week road trips. And my new wife is going to be in charge of my 3 younger sons, who a couple of them were a little bit of a challenge, but they're great kids, and they've grown up to be great adults, of course, and they've got great families. But anyway, at that time, I just felt like it was really important that I still be there as much as I could be doing college sports, because it's not as demanding from a travel standpoint. So I hung in there, and that's what I did. But I've never really wanted to leave IU. I thought I was good enough to get this job. I'm good enough to keep this job. And as long as those two things are good and I get paid a decent wage, because as you know, in radio, you ain't making that much money, but it's all about television these days and all the kind of stuff that they do from that perspective. But the fact of the matter is I've done exactly what I wanted to do. Growing up as a kid, I listened to Harry Carey and all kinds of people like that back in the day that were great broadcasters. A guy named Dan Kelly was the hockey announcer for the St. Louis Blues, because I could get KMOX in Northern Illinois where I lived at that time. And so Harry was the guy I first listened to and loved listening to him. He was an exciting broadcaster. I loved the way he gave, did play-by-play. And then there was this Dan Kelly guy for the hockey team. And I didn't know squat about hockey, still really don't. But the fact of the matter is I love listening to this guy because he knew how to inflect his voice, how to, to get excited, but not to get overly excited. Not like Gus Johnson was with the Penn State call. Who lost his voice completely and everything else. And I'm not putting Gus down because he's a great broadcaster, but the fact of the matter is I don't want to sound like that, But that's part of inflection. That's how you use your voice, how you make things exciting and that kind of thing. And so I learned how to do those kinds of things through listening to those guys. But obviously, when I got started doing the play-by-play, I needed more help than that. You need to be prepared. And that's what Mr. Kimball taught me through that 5-hour session. And my preparation has always been good. And like I said, I still do it the old school way. The modern guys are much farther advanced than I am. And most of these guys that are in broadcasting now are getting into it. They've been doing it since they were in high school. A lot of them have been doing it at high school radio stations. Most of them, all of them have done it at a college radio station if they're into telecommunications part of it. So they've got a tremendous lead on what I was able to do. But I got lucky and I was at the right place at the right time in all these situations.
Before we talk about IU football, I want to know, what is the old school way in for your prep?
Well, just so you know, everybody makes a chart, some kind of chart for football and that kind of thing with all kinds of, you got one square for this guy, one square for that guy. You have a square for every guy, and I don't do it that way. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what you're talking about. So I don't do it that way. I literally have a numerical roster that I keep in front of me for both teams. And that roster has their height, their weight, the position they play, where they're from, and that's about it. The rest of it, I read. And I don't memorize things like that. And as soon as the game's over with, I couldn't tell you their numbers. But I know their numbers going in because I study for that part of it, from a football perspective. So that's the old school thing. Most of these guys now today, they put these charts together. They're brilliant and they look beautiful and they have all the information you could possibly want. I just have never done it that way. I just do it a little bit differently.
But I love that though. And I'm going to show that clip to my students because I have so many students wanting to do play-by-play. And the thing is, it's so much more valuable to keep everything here, right?
Yeah.
Rather than have to look down and
Right.
read it, for sure.
Right.
Oh my goodness, I love that. That was a masterclass in how to do play-by-play.
Well, and the other thing is too, I do keep information in front of me, but it's limited. It's limited in the sense I got the stats and I basically take font, because this is the thing that's great about computers. You can lower fonts to the point where you can barely read them. And of course I got reader glasses and all that kind of crap because I'm blind, but because of that, I just have the statistics for both teams right down here in front of me. And I've whittled it down with the fonts that you can use to copy papers and things like that. And so I have everything right there that I need to do a broadcast, along with what I know about the players and that kind of thing and their backgrounds and that kind of stuff. So, and again, as a play-by-play guy, you don't have as much time to give all that background information on a player during a football game because you are the eyes of the listener as a radio broadcaster. You're not television. They can't see it if they're listening to the radio. Maybe they can if they've got the radio on at the same time and they want to listen to our broadcast rather than TV guys. but that's, and we literally had a ton of people over the years tell us that they've always done that, listen to the radio at the same time. But It's very difficult these days because television is behind radio. Radio is almost instantaneous on the air. Television's usually way behind, about anything from 3 to 15 seconds in some cases. So at any rate, it's hard to listen to the radio guy and the TV and watch the TV because the play that they're listening to is not the same play that you're broadcasting at that point in time. All that said, the business is the business, and I love it. I love what I'm doing. And so let's talk about football.
Let's talk about football. Hoosiers are going into the Big Ten championship this week, and you said it was because mostly of Coach Cignetti. Well, Scott Dolson said, quote, "That's just who he is. Those aren't manufactured sound bites." Mm-hmm. Now, you've had many interviews and conversations with Coach Cignetti. What's your opinion on that? Is that true?
It's all about Coach Cignetti. It truly is. This guy is brilliant. I watched his. I did not go to his press conference yesterday. Mm-hmm. I couldn't go because I had other responsibilities here, and I had to do an interview and this kind of stuff. Anyway, long story short, I watched his interview yesterday, or not his interview, but the press conference that he did yesterday for all the local media. It's the best press conference I've ever heard. I mean, I'm serious about that. Usually his press conferences are about 8 minutes. You know, he just goes through stuff real quick. He had all the writers that were there and all the people that were there to conduct this press conference did a great job of asking him the right questions for a change. And I don't mean that they don't always, but you always get a couple of guys out there that ask some out of the blue question that he doesn't want to answer or anything like that, or can answer. That type of thing. Yesterday's press conference, if you go back and watch that press conference, it is remarkable because it will tell you everything you need to know why he is a success as a college football coach at Indiana. I mean, his answers were so succinct. They were perfectly scripted, and he didn't have a script, obviously. It was just, I told Jeff Kaag this morning, on a phone call we had, that's the best press conference I've ever seen. And it tells you all you need to know about why he is a great football coach, maybe the best. I know he's been the best I've ever been around, and I love Bill Mallory to death because Bill Mallory had the best record of anybody here at Indiana since I've been here. And I loved watching him. He was old school, and Kurt's got a little of the old school in him too, because he expects a lot of things from his players. And the first thing he looks for in a player is character. If they have character, he'll talk to them. If they don't have character, he won't go any further. So that's how important character is to him. And then from that point forward, how much experience, what kind of talent level do they have, all those kinds of things. Do they have the right mindset? Are they all they interested in is out of the transfer portal money? All those kinds of things. He vets every single player in a way that is remarkable in my belief, because I don't know most people. I can tell you this: we had a basketball coach the last 4 years at Indiana that he all he wanted to see was, were they a 4-star or a 5-star, that kind of thing. That's not how you that's not how you construct a roster. And I'm not putting the guy down. I'm just simply saying I saw how it was done before. I see it how it's done now, and what we saw and Darian DeVries did the same thing, the new coach for the men's basketball team. Yeah. And he sounded in his press conference. He sounded just like Curt Cignetti in what he said, not how he said it, but what he said. Yeah. It was almost identical to what Cignetti did when he had his first press conference. And when I went into that press conference and watched Darian DeVries, I was sitting there like this, and I had the smile on my face like I do right now, going, damn, we got another one. We got another really good one.
Dolphin nailed it. Dolphin nailed 2 hires.
Exactly.
He nailed them.
Yeah. I mean, he may never get fired.
Now, well, as he shouldn't. We had Dolson on the podcast about a month ago, and his stories about Cignetti were incredible. But one of the stories he told was he's the guy moment about Cignetti, right? When he knew that Cignetti was the man for the job.
Yeah.
Did you have that moment at all in the last 2 seasons? And can you specify what that moment was?
Well, I don't know that I had a moment in the last 2 seasons. I had it the first time I interviewed him, because he basically told me his philosophy. He told me that he learned more about how to run a program when he was with Nick Saban than anything else he learned from Saban.
Wow.
Because by that time, he'd been an assistant coach. I think when he left Saban and got his first head coaching job, he'd been an assistant, I think, for 26 years, something like that, that neighborhood. So he learned a lot about football. And his dad was the Hall of Fame coach at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and obviously a guy that he'd learned a lot from growing up. And then obviously through the years that he was an assistant, he learned from other guys. He worked for Johnny Majors, and he worked for some really good coaches through the years. But Saban, he said, was the one guy that showed him how to run a program, not necessarily the X's and O's and all that kind of stuff. Because like I said, Kurt had been around a lot of really good coaches before and knew all those kinds of things before he got to Saban. It was how Saban ran his program, how he conducted the program, and those kinds of things is what Kurt told me that he had learned from that guy. So, and I don't know that they're great friends or anything like that, because I've never seen them interact in a real positive way on game days and things like that. But whether they are good friends or not, I think he respects the fact that Saban ran a program like he thought it needed to be run. And he took a lot of what Saban taught in that area and used it himself as a head coach.
Wow. We don't want to take all of your time, but we just want one quick thing, your prediction for Saturday's game. And I'm talking the football game, not the men's basketball game.
Wait, oh my gosh, that's 2-1. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Don.
Well, I believe Indiana will win. The reason I believe they will win, because I think we have the best coach. I think we've got really good players. We've had a tremendous season. We've had some adversity through that season, and we've overcome that adversity. We've learned how to win in tough situations. All 3 games that everybody thought we were going to lose, we won. Obviously, the Iowa ball game, the Penn State ball game, and the Oregon ball game, everybody thought those games were going to be in the loss column, and they didn't get there, because I think of this coach and the team that he's put together. And that's why I think they're going to win on Saturday against Ohio State. And I know Ohio State's got more talent and all those kinds of things. I don't care.
We love that. Hold on, Don, are you calling both games in the same day?
I am.
Wow.
That is insane on your voice.
Well, if I don't have a voice after these 2 ball games, I don't care.
I love it. Mic drop, literally.
That's incredible. Like, that's because those games are very far. I mean, that's hold on. The first game's at what? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock?
No, it's first game's the basketball game tips at 2:15, and the football game tips at 8 o'clock, or kicks off at 8 o'clock. But I will be doing a pregame show prior to both of them. So it's going to be about 10, 12 hours on the air that day. So,
are you a coffee drinker? What's your secret to keep?
I have no secret. I have no secret, except if I get a cold before Saturday, I won't be doing both games.
Well, you stay inside quarantine, Don, because we need you on the Big Ten championship game specifically.
I'm leaving here in about an hour. I'm leaving here to go to Minnesota for a basketball game tomorrow night.
My gosh.
Knock up on your vitamin C.
Yeah, well, trust me, I take more supplements than any man alive.
No way. That's your secret. You're gatekeeping that secret.
Well, I mean, vitamin C, zinc, all those kinds of things, and then I get all kinds of. I've got 2 things of throat sprays, things that I've used for a couple of times, and they work too. They're pretty good, but they don't keep you from getting laryngitis. I can tell you that.
Zinc, vitamin C, throat spray, anything else?
No, I've always had Hall's cough drops. I love Hall's cough. I don't love them, but they work. They keep your voice, what do they call it? Moistured.
Yep. Moistured. They keep your voice moistured, Sydney.
Yeah.
Don, we are so excited to hear you call both games on Saturday. What an epic day for you and the program. And we appreciate your time so much in those stories. They were truly wonderful.
Well, they're easy because I'm pretty easy. I'm pretty normal in the sense of how we get things done and all that kind of stuff. It's no magic. There's no magic pill for any of this that any of us do. It's all called preparation and work ethic. And, if you work hard at whatever you're doing, you're going to be good at it,
We love that. We love that. Those are some wise words from Don Fischer. Don, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, gals. You
Thank
guys do a
you.
great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you.